Okay, and I will call the Concord School Committee meeting to order. And note that we are being recorded. Welcome to our large audience. Okay guys, so this should be a relatively quick one. Thank you for coming in the middle of the summer. We really just wanted to do a couple of quick updates to keep all of us on the same page. Yuval was going to call in and doesn't have good access from where he is in the mountains, so he's not going to. I'm just sending him a written update that will be the same as what I tell all of you. So we're just gonna do, well, obviously, first, are there any public comments? Because we don't have any public, unless anybody who's been sent a public comment. Chair and liaison reports. I don't have a specific chair's report other than what I'm gonna tell you about. Any liaison reports?
I can report that the Concord and Concord Committee is working on the 2020 observance. That'll involve the high school, and then there'll be a 2022 observance as well at a state level that we'll also be involved in, probably with our high school teachers and students as well.
That's great.
So more to follow.
Great. Very good. Anything else?
Nothing.
The town slows down a bit in the summer. It's nice to have a little slowdown. Correspondence, I haven't gotten any committee correspondence. Nobody else has. So we're on to our two reports. We're just gonna do an update on the building committee and then an update on the town facilities committee or long range property investment committee. So I will do the facility, sorry, the CMS update here. Let me just pull up my notes. So the good news is everything's moving. It's really exciting. So the building committee is now complete, has a full slate and slate of officers, which is great. So the co-chairs are Tim Holt and Dawn Guariello. And Pat Nelson is the vice chair and jumped in kind of at the last minute to say that she would really help with a lot of the legwork and everything. So with the three of them as our officers, I think we are in great hands. I'm really excited about how this is looking. It's a really nice balance. Tim is already taking charge in a great way, making sure the committee is prepared for meetings with information. And Dawn is obviously going to be our expert who knows this process a lot better than we do. And Pat is jumping in to kind of keep everything together. So it's terrific. We're really happy. The rest of the committee, just because,
Excuse me.
no problem. A couple of names have changed. So I thought I'd just go through the committee so everybody knows who is the final building committee. Obviously, Lori, Jared, myself, and Court. And then Justin, the principal, Russ Hughes, who's our new facilities director, so he's on the committee. I think yet to be officially seated because he has to be seated by the select board. John Harris has been designated by Carrie. So John Harris is the town budget director, is that his title? Budget director, I think, something. So Carrie delegated him to join on her behalf. So we're very happy to have him. Kate Hanley, of course, in terms of sustainability. Susan Bates from the select board, and town volunteers other than Tim, Don, and Pat, who I've mentioned. We also have Matt Root, Chris Popov, Frank Cannon, and Charlie Parker. And then Stephen Crane, the new town manager, will join us as soon as he begins. In fact, I think his first day on the job, we have something for him lined up for him to do already. But
Told him that.
okay, good. I'm glad. I'm glad he's getting a heads up. We'll get to that in a second. So regular meetings are going to be Thursdays in the morning at 7:30 a.m. We are defaulting to every other week, but knowing that we will adjust them as necessary. Already we have a couple weeks where it's 2 in a row and then we skip 3. So the every other week is a default that we will definitely be moving and changing from. I just want to put that out there so nobody thinks absolutely every other week and shows up and is disappointed not to have us there. So they'll all be posted. Obviously, they're open meetings. But did you have a question?
So you're probably gonna get to it, but you have visits on the 31st.
Yeah, I'll get to, yeah, let me get to
And then
all
what's the
that
next
more.
meeting after that, was what I'm just curious.
I will let you know.
Thank
So
you.
let me go
So
through that.
when's the next meeting?
Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's Thursday morning, yes.
And where does it meet?
Oh, meeting at the townhouse in the select board room.
Are we gonna post those on our website too, or just?
We're working on that. We're working on that.
Process.
Heather's gonna come meet with Erin and I tomorrow, talk on what our vision is for the webpage. And
Yep.
I wanted guidance on just those kinds of questions. Am I double posting them? Because the official posting's at the town hall.
Right.
Are we double posting it? Assume we would, and how do we wanna organize it? It's the time to make that plan before we start building, since it's early. So
We
We're
and
ready
we
to
have,
develop it.
we have more of our calendar and we have the middle school project link
Yes.
off the homepage
Yes.
to consider
Yes.
for that. Okay.
So that's on the agenda for Thursday morning. Heather's
Exactly.
gonna come give us a little bit of idea, and then we'll take that to the full committee on Thursday for a plan on how to put the webpage information together.
Yes, we're getting that all out there. We've had 2 meetings so far, and this will lead into where we're going. So far, we met on June 18th in the evening just to get us all going. Then July 11th was our first early morning meeting. Basically, so far we've covered the quick stuff, housekeeping, did overviews of open meeting law for everyone, our officers, and then got into the RFS, or the request for services, for an OPM. So this was actually, I think, a very quick and really efficient process. Jared came with drafts early, which was really helpful, and some other people had said some feedback. We had one day where a few of us came in to give Jared feedback and ideas on what should be in it. He came up with the final draft and brought it to our second meeting on July 11th. The whole committee discussed the full RFS, finalized it, and Jared posted it that afternoon. So,
I'm going to interrupt and say your experience is showing, because we're on TV, OPM, Owner's Project
sorry,
Manager.
OPM is the owner's project manager, exactly.
Okay. And
So that- the
request for
OPM
services is the way in which the town advertises.
Exactly, it's basically like an RFP, a request for a proposal. So it's, what we do is we publish that we are interested in hiring an OPM or a project manager for our building project. That OPM then works with us through, and I know you know this, but works with us through the entire building project. Presumably, in fact, right now we are hiring them for this phase, which is the feasibility and design. If all goes well, we would hope to continue with them, but we're not committing to the whole thing, we commit to this phase. And so we then, once it's posted, we have a deadline. Our deadline is August 5th. And various OPM project manager firms will submit submissions to us. And then a small group that's been created as a subcommittee of the building committee will go through all of those, start to sort, choose finalists, and host interviews. So far we have, what are we up to? Is it now 12? How many do we have submissions already so far?
So as of 5:03 p.m. at 45, people pulled the bid. Some,
Okay.
some, or multiple from multiple, it's the same firm.
Right,
Architects, OPMs, maybe 20, if not more.
There's
wow.
no question of the interest.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of interest out
No
there.
question.
Okay, so it's grown since we last talked.
Yeah.
Last I heard it was 12. but-
And just so you know, just on the timeline, so we voted it on that Thursday, the 11th. The reason for that is because it had to get in the it had to get into the central registrar by 4 o'clock that afternoon. The official posting was July 17th.
Oh, right.
So it was
Two
that
days later,
Wednesday.
yeah.
It went in the central registrar. It went into I want to say the one of the local newspapers. And then at 9 a.m. my email started going off for people wanting the link.
No doubt of the
It's great.
interest.
There's a lot of it. And you were saying you were at a
I was at the
superintendent-
superintendent's conference the 9th, 10th, and 11th, so I'm
That
literally calling into the building committee from the Cape after being literally stalked for 2 days because the vendors down there, the architects, the OPMs, they come with a list of who they're gonna try to connect with. And clearly, they had been found.
You were very
Everyone was
popular.
So that was a lot of positive energy, a lot of really excited people that wanna serve us, so I think it's gonna be great. I think the hope always is that you not only get the qualities you need professionally, but the fit is there.
Right.
And I think with this kind of interest, I think we'll be able to come up with both.
Yep.
So,
And there's been discussion already at the building committee about what the priorities are. In fact, the biggest discussion at the meeting where we all finalized it was on the process by which we choose and how many points each different thing gets. So we basically have a list of not requirements, but desired qualifications in an OPM. And each different one, we gave a certain amount of points, anywhere from 2 points up to 15 points. And so you're prioritizing the things that you're looking for. And there's been great discussion about what are our priorities, and fit is important, and the OPM's relationship with other providers out there, designers, et cetera. Experience in sustainability, and what does that mean? Does it just mean, oh, I've heard of sustainable processes, or does it mean I've built a building that's close to net zero ready, that kind of thing. So those are all things that we'll be looking for as the process goes forward. And it sounds like we're gonna have a lot
It's
to
kind of
choose
fun
from.
to be so wanted down there, I have to say.
Yeah, who doesn't like to be
It
popular?
was a little much coming out of the ladies' room, but definitely they're watching. A lot of great energy, I think a combination of who we are as a community, and I think they're a little enticed with the lack of MSBA, which gives them a lot of freedoms they sometimes don't have. And,
Right.
I'm really looking forward to it, I think it's gonna be a great process.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what we get in. So anyway, that process will continue. As I said, August 5th is the deadline. On the 6th, the OPM, if that hasn't changed, but the subcommittee to select the OPM will meet to start narrowing them down. And we've already set August 14th as the interviews for finalists. So that subcommittee will choose the finalists, however many that is, interview them, and the next day on the 15th, we have a building committee meeting, at which point the subcommittee will bring their recommendation and the building committee will officially recommend an OPM to the town manager for negotiations. Now we're back to the town manager in his, first, second, fourth day on the job. And we'll be asking him to then move forward with the negotiations with whichever OPM we've chosen as our recommended.
So the 5th or the 6th was it?
Sorry, the 5th is the deadline.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
the
due.
6th
And then the
meeting.
6th is the
Right.
at least first meeting of the subcommittee. With this many, that group might have to meet more than once to narrow down. I have no idea, I don't know
So
yet.
what I'll do is I'll get the sale bids on the 5th, I'll go through and make sure that people meet the minimum requirements.
yeah.
And then on the 6th, we'll go through it. Yeah, it could be a long day.
So you're gonna put forward finalists to the full committee, or they're gonna make a final selection? You probably said it, and I just missed it.
They're gonna choose the finalists and then interview the finalists
Okay,
on the 14th. And based on those interviews, bring a final recommendation to the full building committee,
okay.
Who then sends
who then sends that
Forward to the
recommendation
town
on to the town
manager.
manager. Now obviously the finalist interviews are in
The 14th,
open session or
we
not? We talked about that, I'm not sure that we came up with the answer on that.
I thought we said.
My recommendation has been open session.
Yeah,
We
okay.
have not formally
Right,
done the legal piece of that, but my recommendation is
Yeah.
open session.
yeah, I think it makes sense.
So you,
So all of the building committee members and anybody else can be there and be a part of or view the interviews of the finalists.
okay, and this subcommittee will then select the finalists.
That was the direction the committee talked on when we discussed it at the building committee level, was the committee felt comfortable having the subcommittee narrow it to one recommendation.
And would you,
Yeah.
just jumping ahead a little bit, but people will start asking these questions as far as the designer, which is obviously a huge decision. Would this be the same template, or obviously the committee would need to discuss it, but,
No, so that's actually one of the next things on here.
okay,
We're gonna be discussing that process in our next meeting, which is Thursday.
okay, very good.
Yeah. So this is just the process for the OPM
Understood.
selection. And which brings me right to, so our next meeting is the 25th, which is this coming Thursday morning. The things on the agenda are the status of this OPM hiring process, obviously just an update on that. And then preparation for the designer hiring process. So we wanna just get that set up to start moving forward, whether it's the same subcommittee or a different group of people, and starting to prepare for that RFP that we'll post.
Right, is that not working with the MSBA, this is dramatically different.
Yeah.
Because the MSBA gets to make that selection
Correct.
based on the finalists you put forward, and then, you know, you don't necessarily get the outcome that you had hoped for, or,
Yeah.
so.
So this is,
So
we're
finalists
already,
going to the full committee might be, you all figure that out, but
finance going to the full committee might be, you're saying you,
it might be desirable as broader participation in such an important decision. But, you know,
and you're
Committee will
saying that
decide.
regarding the OPM or the designer or both?
no, the designer.
Regarding the designer, okay,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
got it, yeah.
So those are the discussions we're starting this week.
Exactly,
right?
those are
Well,
the
I
things that
understand.
we'll start to discuss this
Mhm.
Thursday morning.
Because people have been asking me about the timeline,
Right,
and now it's not necessarily,
it's not all set because we're
Yeah, I
kind of doing it as we go, obviously. But the good news is, like you said, because we don't have to keep going to MSBA, we can move it along pretty quickly.
MSBA right now, if we voted on it on the 11th or approved it, it would be in MSBA's hands still right now. It would probably have been a 2-week turnaround.
the OPM.
The OPM
Yes.
RFS.
RFS.
For me, so we would have
Right.
missed the central register.
Mhm.
Probably would have put us off 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the efficiency effect already, which is great. We're also at this coming meeting gonna talk about a communications subcommittee. Because as
Yeah.
we know, we just need to be able to figure out how to most efficiently get all this information out to people who are interested. And prepare for school tours, which brings me to the following week. The following Wednesday, the 31st, we are gonna go visit 2 new middle schools, Wakefield and Beverly. And I think Lori sent this to all of you, you're all welcome to join us if you'd like.
9:30 in
9:30.
Wakefield and noon in Beverly.
So this Thursday, again, we'll be doing some preparation for that, and then the next time we all get together will be the following week to go tour. And that's pretty much the update. Oh, and then it turns out if you wanted the schedule for I didn't put the schedule for the rest of the summer, but I can tell you here after the 31st, we then meet again August 8th and August 15th, 2 weeks in a row, and then we go 3 weeks until September 5th. And that's what's set so far.
Okay, so that's meant to align with the hiring potentially of the OPM during that week of the 11th to the 15th. Knowing then we're probably ready to post the RFS for design. It just made good sense to
Exactly.
have a little window there between the
And in
two.
fact, those I
Well,
didn't point out as I talked about the selection process, but the meeting the 8th and the 15th ties in with that selection process. So the subcommittee who meets the 6th and narrows it down to finalists will bring those finalist recommendations to all of us, the full building committee, on the 8th. We'll all discuss those, give it our blessing or debate or whatever we need to do, and then move on to invite folks, the finalists, to interview. So the building committee will be involved, the full building committee will be involved at each step, even though that subcommittee is kind of driving the process.
And in that 3-week hiatus, there will certainly be a lot of onboarding going on with the OPM.
Yep.
Which I think will allow for
Right.
very informed meeting when we start back up in September.
Right.
So the OPM doesn't have any input into the RFS for design.
Oh, I think they do.
Yes.
Sounded like it was
I don't-
hiring them and being sent out in the same couple of days.
No, this coming week, we're just gonna talk about the process for creating the RFS for the designer. So the process being, is it the same subcommittee, is it different people, what's our timeline, when do we wanna send it out? So we don't have a draft of an RFS for a designer yet, we're not looking at that yet. Even if we do, create a draft in advance, we'll definitely take the input of the OPM
So the,
in that.
so
So it wasn't meant to be as exclusive as I think it might have
Yeah,
sounded.
maybe I made it
meant
sound
to
like it.
be that one would inform the other. But that 3-week window gives us time to work on the RFS for the design while we onboard the OPM, and it made good sense that the committee would be able to take a few weeks in between because we'll be far more informed when the OPM can come really advise to the committee that first week in September.
So the RFS for the design won't open until September.
I think so.
Right. And the
I
OPM,
heard something wrong.
Yeah, no, I think I said it more exclusively than I intended.
that'll be September, and the OPM will join us at our September 5th meeting.
Yes.
And thereafter.
Good.
So that they'll really be, they'll be on the team as of then.
We made sure we put it 7:30 in the morning on the RFS for that meeting, so they know you gotta be here in the morning.
Exactly.
Be a trailer park.
So they know what they're committing to.
Don told us to do that
Just so
from
they can
experience.
logistically plan it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, that they won't all be expecting that. You two are there, anything I missed? Jared, you've been in the center of this, driving a lot of it.
No, I think.
It's been smooth so far.
Yeah.
It really has.
Okay.
I'm excited. Really.
Yeah, the committee's just been phenomenal so
Yeah.
far, I think, just watching the leadership. Really, those folks got appointed at that meeting July 11th and have owned it since the minute they were
Yeah.
appointed.
Absolutely.
I said to Erin and Jared, I'm like, I'm actually just gonna show up at a meeting. I didn't have to post it, I didn't have to create the agenda, I just had to participate. So that part all feels really good. They clearly are experienced and we're benefiting from that and taking on the communication. I just think we're syncing up really quickly, which is exciting. So, yeah,
I think so.
it's a great group.
Any questions, anything I've neglected to answer?
I would simply add two things. One, to echo the idea that the meetings are open and
Yes.
truly participatory. The committee has been eager to invite citizen participation.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think people will be most impressed with the experience around the table. A number of the names that you read off are people who have had very successful experience with large-scale projects in the past, and they're going to serve us well.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Okay, good. Then that's the update on middle school. In terms of the town facilities committee, you
So,
have
just a
been
quick
following
update.
that. An update would be great.
Currently, it's, they're going back, and I think they're on their fifth revision, maybe four and a half. They're talking about now leaning toward a task force versus a standing committee, but they would give them the option of having a standing committee. They still, it seems like there's some differing points of view, but it looks like they would like to get some guidance from this committee on sequencing these large projects. Now,
Wait, you said they
the select board,
would like to get some guidance from this new,
this
Committee.
facilities planning, capital planning committee. And it sounded like they were focusing on projects over 100K at least. They're not, it's not really clear. One of the issues is there's a report, I think, from TBA's Associates, architectural firm in Concord, that's supposed to sort of provide an overview of the options for town facilities. And that now is due August 26th, I believe, to the select board. So I think with the new town manager starting and this report, I still think there's gonna be a lot of work to be done. To even figure out how to sequence, because as I said to one of the members of the select board, it took us a lot of time to figure out the plus and minuses of deciding on a new middle school, keeping the existing facilities running, doing a rehab, kind of thing. So
renovate
there's so
versus
many,
rebuild, yeah.
there's so many options on the table. So, they're trying to maybe try to seat this group, or try to decide on the charge at the next meeting. We'll see if
Okay.
they get there. But.
And are they thinking of it as facilities planning, capital planning, all of them, or are they?
More, I think the focus is on staging these large capital projects.
Okay, so, okay,
And sequencing them,
So capital plan.
capital plan,
capital planning, yeah.
great,
So, stay tuned.
okay, good, thank you for keeping us posted
They meet
and watching it.
They meet Monday again, the select board, so we'll
Okay.
see.
Where that goes. All right, good. Oh, have they talked about membership to this?
So they're adding, they haven't adjusted the staff membership, but they are adding at least 3 to 4 community members, maybe 5. They're trying to do that. No, they don't want to have it even. But it's just discussion.
Okay, and in terms of any interaction with the schools, has there been any discussion? I mean, obviously,
Well,
this train is kind of out of the station, and we don't have big capital, not out of the station completely, but the beginning part of it
that
is.
was my input, and they were consistently talking about Ripley as a potential large capital project. I said it's always possible. We wouldn't neglect the facility, we wanna keep it going. I don't think we're talking about tearing it down and rebuilding.
No, you know, we voiced some of those infrastructure things that need to be updated here. I think the question that'll come to the joint committees, probably as we get to this year's capital budget, will be what scale of that do we try to do and when? What can we fit within the town manager's appropriation, which I've had feedback already that the more we can do through that appropriation, the better. We would agree
Yes.
with that, of
Yes.
course.
Yeah.
There is a Carlisle component in the Ripley stuff too.
Right.
You have to figure some of that out. And what are the needs, the most pressing needs here? Some of it is HVAC and sustainability oriented, so we've been working with Kate Hanley to try to see if there's, similar to like what happened at the middle school, those boilers were grant subsidized and then paid for themselves very quickly. So some of what projects of that might be eligible for
Yeah.
any of those kinds of programs.
That's
So
great.
I think, I know why they're bringing it up, because we have voiced those needs, and I think it's good that it's part of the discussion. I don't think it's probably gonna hit the priority list the way some of their projects will.
Right.
Nor do I think we would advocate for it to be there.
Right, right,
We just
exactly.
can't do nothing for another 10 years, or we're
Right.
gonna have problems.
Right.
But, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, good, just wondering if they were.
They keep mentioning the schools in the town,
Okay.
like we
Yeah.
have equal needs. Okay, you know,
Okay, good.
so
Terrific, that's great, glad we're on the radar.
Yep.
Anything else, questions from anyone? Anything else before we adjourn? In record-breaking time.
Oh, wow, do it right now and it'll be on.
Okay, there we go, I take a motion to adjourn.
second, or
Oh,
so moved.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much.
We're not even gonna miss that.